Hello, everybody. It seems like forever since we've sat down to watch some trailers. I'm Brandon Jones. I work for GameTrailers.com. Gamescom is a great time for trailers to come out. There are tons of trailers coming out. We're actually going to talk about 4 trailers today. So if you're unfamiliar with the format, let's all go to the trailers. That's how we do things. Mr. Daniel Bloodworth is here.
Hey.
Mr. Kyle Bossman is here.
Hi, everybody.
And we are not in Germany, but I did look up how to pronounce or how to say let's all go to the trailers, or at least something close to it in German. Mr. Kyle Bossman.
Lasst uns alle ins Trailers gehen.
For the fans in Germany this week.
They're probably so mad. Like, that's probably insulting how I just pronounced it.
Yeah, trailers is how all should be going today. But yeah, there's tons of stuff. We don't have time to dilly-dally. Again, we're going to go through 4 trailers, so let's start with the first one. I am excited about Bloodborne. Not nearly as excited as I'm sure as a lot of other people in the office. This is a lot of stuff that we had already seen. So we can talk a bit about being excited about the game.
That's the thing, though. We've sort of seen this through leaks and bits, and unless you were in the E3 booth, you didn't see any of this like in any kind of legitimate, high-quality way. So this is the intended gameplay reveal. It does lose a little bit considering how much it got thrown out there. I like the fact that they're nice and slow about how they pull everything out and before they get into the action.
Kyle, what's your excitement level for this game?
My excitement level for this game, I would say 8.5. It's actually not a 10. And I guess the reason it's not a 10 is those GIFs that were leaked of Project Beast were somehow more exciting than the thing that we have, the tangible thing we have in a strange way, if you know what I mean. Actually, I think that's something we should take into account, as Bloodworth said, the intended reveal as opposed to the actual reveal. I mean, they played it on their own stream during E3. We saw the gameplay demo, and so it is weird to call this a gameplay debut, right? But it doesn't even show us that much gameplay as a gameplay debut. We don't see Dark Souls-esque fights prolonged, you know what I mean? It is worth comparing it to Dark Souls, I feel like, even, because it's that kind of trailer, basically.
Right.
Did both of you guys see the gameplay at E3?
I saw it at E3, yeah. I didn't realize it was on the stream, though. They actually streamed it?
Yeah, they streamed it on their own PlayStation stream.
I think this trailer speaks to aesthetics for me because I appreciate Dark Souls for what it is, but it is not a game I'm going to make time for when I have time to play games. But I'm going to make time for this, from what I can tell, really early on, purely based on aesthetics, just because everything I'm seeing visually I love. And everything that I don't understand that's not typical is bizarre in such a just great... I don't know, this game's just wrong in so many great ways. But just as a trailer, say they had shown this at E3 instead of the gameplay demo, and then we got the gameplay demo at Gamescom. Would have been a better reveal to kind of tease the gameplay and then show it? Is the thunder kind of taken away a little bit?
Or the... Well, too, yeah, I'm not sure how much we really needed the the CG trailer that they had. This to me would have kind of been more effective because it's like, yeah, like you would seeing it, like it's actually real, like all that stuff, all those little gifs and things that leaked, like this is the real deal. As being the first thing that you see of the game.
I think the first time we see the gameplay, it's actually a little weird. It kind of jumps into it. I would have liked a little lead up on those guys, the first guys that the character attacks. So the edit's like a little clunky in that way. But as far as gameplay reveals, I thought they did a good job of building up the excitement to it. I give it an 8.
In comparison to other Dark Souls trailers, normally they're a lot more like story heavy. Do you know what I mean? And in this case, we see the characters back. There is a ton of gameplay in there. Music and tone. Tone is the most important thing we've discovered about these trailers. Setting up your game's tone. And it sucks when GIFs leak, but you got to still make a trailer afterward. I'll give it I guess my hype level was an 8.5. This trailer is an 8.5. Your trailer is only as good as the hype.
What came first, the hype or the trailer?
They bleed into themselves. The hype is the trailer.
Bleed into themselves is a good way to describe this trailer.
Right.
Mr. Blood.
I like the build-up. I like that the music starts before you actually see the game. It just kind of settles you in, and then, even though Dark Souls has this story going on that you kind of get wrapped up in a little bit as you play the game. It's never been something that I've had any, even I've really wondered about before playing the game, like watching the trailers and stuff. And this game, you know, when they're talking about the hunters come out at night and all that, I'm very intrigued by that. You know, I'm like, okay, like what is this? What's going on? Whereas with Dark Souls, like I was all about the gameplay, and then when I got into the game, that's when I started getting interested in the story elements. So yeah, I'd say close to Kyle, probably like a 8.6.
Here's a franchise that I get the name all mixed up. Is it Might and Magic Heroes or Heroes of Might and Magic?
So originally there was Might and Magic. Then there was Heroes of Might and Magic was the spinoff. And it stayed Heroes of Might and Magic for a long time, which with my librarian mind is completely frustrating. And then a couple of years ago, they finally changed it to Might and Magic Heroes.
Not necessarily one of the leading blockbuster franchises that people are talking about during Gamescom, but I wanted to talk about this because it's very flashy in CG, but not in a way that's misleading of gameplay. Do you give trailers a pass? Here's a quick question. We can move on to another trailer. Do you give this trailer a pass for being CG because it does something artful to try to tell the story?
Absolutely, and it's not just to tell the story, it is to tell like a major aspect of this game. He's talking through character classes basically when we go into stained glass mode, and not only is it just very pretty to look at. I mean, we're all looking at this beautiful stained glass together, and like, oh, that looks great. That looks really cool. But yeah, he's explaining like the different classes in the game and making each of them seem significant, which I think is cool. Is cool to pull off.
Yeah.
If you're just gonna give us CG.
So these would be, and I'm going a little bit out on a limb here, but these would be the heroes, and then they would have all their minions underneath of them that would be your grunts and soldiers and that kind of thing.
Also playing up the legacy aspect, you know, if you're going to be put into stained glass, you better be pretty cool.
It took me a while to like actually figure out like what that aesthetic was. Like when it first panned over his shoulder, like I didn't connect the glass, and so I'm like, why are they all like weird polygon looking? And then, you know, I like using the symbolism of actually having the strategy board there, because that's, you know, essentially what you're doing as the player is, you know, you're playing a strategy game, you're playing, you know, an advanced version of chess, so to speak. And so to kind of like have that as the context, and then have these, you know, sounds and stuff going on in the background as to what's actually happening in the battles. It's pretty cool.
And decent VO, I should also know, and music.
Decent.
Right.
I will lead my score with decent. I give this a 7.6. I think the CG is good. His face is a little rough. He's kind of like a bro. He doesn't really look like a regal king, you know. He's got like 5 o'clock shadow. It's a weird shit, a mullet. It's weird. But gorgeous. And I think makes a statement, like I said, to kind of rise out of something in my eyes of all of the media that I consumed during Gamescom for me to notice. Oh, that's neat that you didn't just say, oh, you know, here's kind of what we hope this game will look like. I don't get that from this. I get a pitch. I get and a story pitch, which is always appreciative when using the trailer medium of storytelling. Mr. Bossman.
Right. As we kind of started, I mean, this game got to 7, but I would still say it's more obscure. Do you know what I mean? It's not a huge game that you got to talk about. They have to fight for attention, and I think this very visual stained glass look was a way to fight for attention, and I think they pulled it off while staying true to the game and about what this actual game is going to be about. Which I think is cool. You know, just represent your game always. So I actually like it a lot. 8.7.
This does, you know, I even though I haven't kept up on Heroes of Might and Magic forever, it doesn't feel like there's anything here to like really show me like, okay, well, what's really new? You know, like, and I guess maybe that if you're collaborating and joining forces a little bit more, maybe that's what the angle is. But I like kind of some of the stuff that they were going for. So 7.5
for the Bro King. He absolutely looks like a Bro King.
Which sometimes a bro has to step up and be king.
Somebody's got it.
Stand with me, you're Bro King. Tequila works. You could have, Woo's right. You could have really done anything with this trailer, but I thought this was, you know, a wordless trailer, and yet we still get the story, kind of much more context than we ever got with Journey, which is something that you think games like this would have similar trailers. Where Journey was like, there's no way you could decipher what order of the events you were seeing. It's like, okay, now I'm flying, now I'm submerged, now it's snow. Like, I wonder what order those play out in the game. Where here's a trailer that very deliberately tries to show, like, here's why you would want to go to this thing, and here's how you could possibly pull that off. No voiceover, I believe.
Absolutely
And
not, yeah.
Tons of stuff going on, with the game looking unbelievably gorgeous the entire time.
No, you're right. It sells you on an adventure. We see the character finding this thing, and then we see him progressing toward it in a trailer. That's a really good idea. You're right. That's showing us what this game is. Because that first trailer, you kind of get a sense, oh, we're just kind of wandering around in an island. And here you see the character with, a purpose. I mean, the purpose is I want to go to that thing, but it's still a purpose, you know what I mean? And it's something that we'll do in the game.
I want to do that. I want to ride around on
Absolutely, don't we all?
these circular things with legs. And he's not, like, nervous at all. Like, he's done that, like, 20 times already. Just like, okay, got to get back to that temple. Better take the little orb walkers.
Yeah, I mean, it's showing us game. It's showing us here's the actual game.
No, it's showing
of
us
Rhyme.
so much game, and and rewatching it now, just like seeing how much of, like, you're actually seeing like these puzzles there. Like I don't know if you noticed, but like the one time, like he's walking through the woods and the camera shifts and like the markings on the tree like create an image of a fox, and then there's a fox in the foreground, and I feel like something here like this what looks kind of like a keyhole on the beach, and then the one in the tower, like that's connected. So there's like a lot of these things where you're seeing sort of like the hints of working out a puzzle already. Yeah, there's just such a sense of imagination to it, and the visuals are so, they're just gorgeous.
I think there's also a lot of play with perspective on what you're able to do from a third-person perspective, and what's just something set up for the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, some of this might actually be gameplay. Like, some of these shots, the camera might actually be in the same place it'll be when you're playing the game.
Right.
But others aren't, and it's not done in such a way that it kind of betrays you, and you're like, well, I don't know. Who knows what this game's like? It's so obvious what you're going to be doing in this game, and the style, and almost the control, and kind of like what it'll feel like to move him around. I think all of that is conveyed, even though we don't actually get to see quote-unquote gameplay, like camera locked.
Right.
This is how it runs. I put myself in a room, and if I had the whole team, and they're like, you got the whole game, whatever, all of the music, all the assets, what do you want to do? How do you sell Rhyme? I think this is how you sell Rhyme.
Yeah, you're right. This is a great trailer.
I give this a 9. I think it's a solid 9er. They did a great job.
Yeah, remember sometimes we talk about like choosing shots, and sometimes they just feel like not deliberate. Sometimes it just feels like, oh yeah, I'll just put them all on a timeline and put the export of the trailer. Like even like when the warthog appears, I think is the best possible time for that warthog to appear. It all seems very deliberate, which is what we love, what we enjoy out of trailers. 9.2.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. It's awesome trailer. I really makes me want to play this game. So yeah, I'll give it a 9 as well.
One last trailer to fit into our massive Gamescom let's all go to the trailer special. A trailer that just makes me go, huh? And that's a great thing to do for a trailer. Again, something that can really make you stand out at an event. Crazy visuals and an aesthetic that keeps people guessing. And if you can demonstrate that in your trailer, there's like 8 different styles that are like doing battle here, and I don't know who I want to win.
Yeah.
Nor do I really understand what the hell is happening. Like what?
And the trailer,
where's the game here?
It wants that. It wants you to have these bizarre questions. You know what I mean? It's kind of deliberately obtuse in some ways, which is okay, I guess. You know what I mean? Part of it's to build a mystery, and I think that they're clearly doing that with this.
I also like the aspect of, you know, Microsoft and Sony having this bidding war over all of these independent titles. It's, you never know when you're going to have a Journey, when you're going to have an Unfinished Swan, when you're going to have a Braid, you know, something that just like defines the whole reason for you to be delivering all of this content to people. So when one of these gets announced, I love the balls of just kind of being like, you know, weird Russian girls, you know, carving out some guy's face. What do you want? Like, that's it? That's all you're going to tell us? That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great. You're that confident, you know, that just...
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, you know, like, you get a little bit of an idea of what the game can let you do, but not really. Like, how does this play in, you know, like, a lot of the stuff that they're doing, like the jetpacks flying around and stuff, it's like, well, why? You know, how much of my time am I going to be spent with this pickaxe, you know? But it's very, yeah, it's like, okay, we're mining these things. What do we do with them? Why are, yeah, every single shot is kind of bizarre, and it's like trying to link it all together. But at the same time, you know, it's captivating, and it's like it just doesn't look like a game should look like this, right? Like it feels like it's CG, but you know, it's clear that this is what the game is going to be like. So, but there's like no backgrounds there, and man, it's so intriguing.
I don't know what to tell this trailer to do, if it's to do anything different, because I don't know enough about the game. But it's not something that like I would immediately want to run out and grab. 8.7.
So we talk a lot about, I guess, progression and, you know, choosing shots. I think this is definitely lacking in natural progression in what we see and when and why. And I think that's intentional. You know what I mean? I think it's meant to be a weird trailer. I give it a no hard feelings 6.
Wow.
No hard feelings. It's a 6. I think this trailer is okay with being a 6. But that's the score I give it. You know what I mean? It's okay with being a not very good trailer.
I'm okay with you giving it a 6, Kyle. Blood?
They show so much variety too, and I think that's why it's a little bit hard to really grasp, because you know, you go from shooting to mining to flying and building bridges and all of this stuff. So there's a little bit of a sense of what you're going to do, but it takes time and rewatching it a lot to really piece it together. But I like how far out on a limb it goes. Yeah, I guess 8.6, I guess.
So much stuff coming out of Gamescom, but if you have to check out other things and don't have time to check out all of it, I recommend Alien Isolation, of course. Came out with an awesome CG trailer. Didn't really learn anything, just her being scared, running around, eventually being killed. Pretty much what happens in that game. Assassin's Creed Unity had more a gameplay-driven trailer. I just went to Montreal to meet with them, and they specifically pointed out, they're like, there are 5,000 people wandering around in this trailer. This is all gameplay, everything you're seeing. So,
You comparing that trailer was gameplay?
Yeah.
Because I wasn't entirely sure on that one. Great little piano piece they have going in there too.
And kind of fun when usually, you know, Assassin's Creed trailers kind of rock out, and that can get a little old sometimes. So kind of nice to
and they did
be classy.
They did an interesting progression toward, like, they start with all this peaceful scenery, and then you start seeing the grimmer side of what's going on.
Dead Island 2 finally got to see gameplay. Very red, very overexposed. But if you were curious to check out what that game looks like, it's coming along.
I think that game's going to have a hard time outshining Dying Light. Which, in the terms of trailer game, Dying Light is still killing it. It's doing... Dying Light's trailer game is tight.
Dragon Age Inquisition, the Enemy of Thetis trailer. Another, you know, chance to look at that game. Did you guys check out that trailer?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool trailer. With what?
This is the problem, is like you're trying to remember it. Like, I think Dragon Age Inquisition is going to have a hard time leaving an impact. If you know what I mean.
Dungeon of the Endless. I don't know if you guys checked out that trailer.
No, I didn't get to.
It had a fun retro vibe.
They were telling me about that game.
The way that game starts is like it's cinematics, and I thought, oh, the game looks like this? Oh my gosh, I was so excited. It's like PS1 polygons with like pixel art on them, basically. It looks really good. And then here's our game, and it's not that, and I was so bummed.
Never Alone grabbed an actual Eskimo to talk about how emotionally affected he was.
This was a really good trailer.
Oh, man,
Never Alone
need to watch this.
is coming out. He has very high hopes for how that game can affect Eskimo culture.
Which is good.
Yeah, I hope it does.
Never Alone I probably wouldn't pay attention to because it's like here's our 2D 2.5D platformer game. But then this person talking about like the emotional impact of what you'll learn from it, I think is actually a really good idea for a trailer.
And Titanfall, what? Got a crazy, you know,
like
super high-produced live action trailer for just yay Titanfall. Is there any crazy announcement that's coming that
well, no, I think
that?
it's tied into the next DLC. But yeah, I mean, it did feel kind of random. They showed a cut down version of it in the press conference.
And of course, so many other things that I hopefully didn't miss. Lots of important stuff. But if I did, let me know on Twitter and let us know in the comments. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Kyle.
We'll talk about Warcraft next week.
Yeah, we're going to talk about... I went to a trailer event this morning. I went down to a theater in downtown Los Angeles and watched the premiere of the new World of Warcraft cinematic, which, although they talked about Gamescom a lot at the event, is their cinematic and nothing I would really tie directly to Gamescom. It's not something we can talk about a week later, and it's like, well, Gamescom's over. Can't talk about Warcraft anymore.
Yep.
But yeah, lots of exciting news coming out of Blizzard, and hopefully more exciting trailers. Sorry we missed a week. Sorry, all those trailers. All those trailers. I did make a list so we can remember them at the end of the year. But who cries for all those trailers? Assassin's Creed Rogue, I didn't get to complain that I didn't think that trailer was all that.
Yeah, that was rough.
And there, Ubisoft.
The Order got shafted today.
Yeah.
Order had a cool trailer, I thought.
Sorry, Kyle. Well, because you mentioned it,
so
I'll
which
throw it
best
in
trailer of Gamescom? What is best trailer of Gamescom?
Oh my.
It's probably Rhyme, I guess, based on our scores.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
Yeah, all of the other ones, maybe had good trailers, but the announcement that wasn't necessarily as powerful.
Sure.
You would give it to Rhyme. Lots of great stuff, though. Bigger Gamescom than I think a lot of people were expecting.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, everybody, for releasing all the trailers, and thank you guys for chatting about it. See you next week on a brand new stage. The show will sound totally different. It'll be the same show. See you next week.